Aloha, Nityanandam. So welcome to day 9 of the 25 days of Force Majeure Christmas. What an interesting day of unfoldings. Always Cosmos is like, oh, that's cute. You got ideas. New reality. Because that's what happens in quantum quirks, where Cosmos shows me what I gotta do, and I do it, and then a whole new level reality opens up, and having to process those downloads that happen. At least now, the downloads I get is not as lightning bolts. Still the same, but very sobering and very sobering, humbling, and challenging at the same time. So let's start with a prayer. You are welcome to say the prayer that you in your tradition invokes communion. For me, I prefer silence. So what happened today, right? I have ideas. Yesterday I was like, okay, so tomorrow we're gonna go and switch to doing like the online presentation type of, broadcasting and stuff like that, and moving along, but that's not what happened today. This is where, for me, in my experience, having a guru matters. And the thing about my relationship with Swamiji, I am very conscious and aware, because I'm very super conscious. It's a growing together relationship because we are two different beings, and things he says enters into my inner space very differently, and everyone is unique in that regard. One of the things with Swamiji and his continued efforts of training everyone, and he trains people who show up, and all that it is repetition. And so today's showing up on special one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but discourse satsang, was on cleanliness and organization. Cleanliness is godliness type of thing, and so always that continuous reminder, because life happens and whatnot, and that's where Sangha matters, or those who you associate with or talk with. The discussions are different. It's not pressure, it's just reminders, because so many things. It's the full dynamic called life, right? And so always that reminder to get back to basics, to continuously strive to be better or move forward. And in that particular training session, we get initiations, which today's initiation was for realigning to integrity. And that was a very intense darshan for me, because we all have our integrity. Because initiation is not inspiration. It's not. Initiation is zapping you with the constructs and energy to align and realign to that integrity. And so, because I'm in this single focus seeking, down this path this journey I'm walking, and this video series is more or less a glimpse of that journey walking with Guru in Guru Bhakti. But Guru is also not one to insert themselves between Atma, the self, and Cosmos Paramashiva God, because Guru Bhakti becomes Atma Bhakti. Or for those like me who have Atma Bhakti, filter, sort through a lot of things for that integrity. And so that next level of peeling away to get to the source of this situationship I'm born in investigative mediation, as well as manifest my highest potential or self-actualize. Right? That's what we're all here for. And I hope everyone is aligning themselves with these circles and friendships who resonate with that without enslaving, snaring, grabbing down each other. I'm over here like, where do I start? Because it really is a convoluted mess that I'm ironing out straightly, right? So I'll start where I left off yesterday, because leaving off with the whole Boston Tea Party. America is still in the Boston Tea Party with Britain, and Britain is winning. Bar Association, British Accredited Regency, IRS, taxation, Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is a private bank. It's not a governmental agency. IRS is that pseudo-governmental agency to empower British agendas and vested interests. So this is a question that I've had for quite some time, because everyone has multiple possibilities. And just like I agree with David Wynn Miller, Ron Williams, Swamiji, etc., it's all subjective truths, as well as history cannot be accurately recorded by everybody's opinion and experience of that time period, especially even now. Everyone has their own perspective and experience of it, of life, every moment to moment. So one of the questions that I have, just throwing it out there, third party, no vested interest, just asking a legitimate question. Not accusing, not taking sides. I don't take sides, none of my business. It becomes my business when it imposes upon and infringes upon my liberty, right? My freedom. So, question is, did Britain conquer Hawaiian Kingdom and perpetuate Kamehameha I, united the realm for ease of compliance of the masses at that time? Legit question. There are those who accept that Kamehameha I joined the British Army to gain access, training, and such of the cannons. And upon joining any other military, one has abandoned the country of their origin. Legit question, right? There are some that I've come across who do not recognize Kamehameha I. Thus, there are multiple reasons for the infighting and division called factions, or the internal strife or civil war that goes on within Hawaiian Kingdom. There are those who are claiming king, and some of them don't make sense. Some of them are grabbing this and that of whatever constitutions, different ones, to quantify and posture their claims. I have not heard anyone say that they don't recognize Kamehameha I because he is not Hawaiian or Kanaka, or Hawaii realm Kanakama. It's Kanaka, but he's British. Which becomes an interesting question because he became a Freemason, as well as the similarities of the Hawaiian Kingdom flag and the British flag. If that's the case, is Hawaii actually Hawaii? Is it really Britain? Legit question. That's Hawaii Kingdom. And then there's the US with the situation where there's we the people American citizens and Britain US citizen, British, under the umbrella of America. Either which way, those two sides, despite against each other, because it's about land theft and blood title, they will band together and go against Native Americans or Earth peoples in general. That's what I'm noticing is the behavior pattern of the colonizers who have rolled out their agenda globally. Thus, it's all same. That's why it gets really interesting with force majeure, because that will work in any conflict zone, official conflict zone, whether you're naughty or nice. And so that's where Hawaii is in occupation. Hawaii Kingdom is in martial law, complying with those global standards, expectations, moral expectations, and the U.S. is not here in this realm. And it's find it funny, and I have to say this, that in the laws of war, it's very peculiar as to why the attacker, abuser, is the one entrusted to do the military government overseeing this and that. But if it's to take over and there's a higher vested interest, of course that's going to make sense. And thus, because of those hypocrisies that I'm catching, even within the humanitarian law, some of the theories that I have is that the UN is complicit in manufacturing war for profit, because all of it is maritime law and corporations, and they are all doing the pointing the other direction or someone else, and that corporate shuffle or whatever you want to call it, sidestepping any responsibility with the clarity that I'm saying that global peace treaty is actual and factual humanitarian law, since treaties are contracts, and we're talking about contracts, and that is law that must be followed. So anybody, it's going to be interesting, because for me, I'm deciding to stand up, because I'm looking around and I see no one. On every level, there is pretty much very little bit people who are conscious, waking up, looking around, processing, because they're too busy with whatever. And that's been manufactured as well. So with this, I'm leading into, for me, what opened up for me and the questions I must ask everyone to look into their heart. And I've been saying it, but this is where it's going to get very real. So I'm speaking on behalf of all of those who are like me, which is a vast majority of people in Hawaii. For me, I stand on pre-Pa'au, where family ruled themselves. They governed and ruled themselves. Yes, they did have a Kupuna council, but that was more or less to handle like a neighborhood board or parent-teacher conference for kolohenes or whatever, or even to get together for celebrations or whatever. But in this period, and this is just for this location that I'm speaking, but in this time period, everyone, the Aboriginal, indigenous, Kanaka Maoli, were all power manifestors, and power manifestation was a lifestyle for everyone. Pa'au, when he came, he brought hierarchy as well as human sacrifice. Black magic. That's black magic. And then the missionaries brought a different management style of enslavement, or a different brand of hierarchy. Right? Different brand, but people have already been directly, however they want to justify it, because a lot of times people who are suffering with arrogance and ego to be better for a position, and then completely blind spot with their hypocrisies of equality, and then another level of blind spot is we're all God's children and we're equal. Doesn't work like that, right? Doesn't work like that. When we're all power manifestors, and when you are a power manifester, you understand. It doesn't matter. Especially when someone like me who initiates and trains, regardless of who you call upon as God, 100% works all the time, which is a very humbling experience and keeps you really checked into reality. So for me, I don't contract because, right, contracts, and life is a continuous change. So it either is or it isn't for me, but not contracting ensures to never enslave the unborn. Why am I saying this? Treaties are contracts. They've been using treaties well before you and I were born. Well before my grandparents were born, right? These instruments, or this maritime law commerce thing, has been going on for a very long time. And so because I'm Japanese descent, there was a treaty between Japan and Hawaii Kingdom. Why was that happening? Well, at that time, there were whatever, then they had the plantations. And because Kanaka Maoli refused to work on the plantations, they came up and we're talking about hierarchy. How to directly own and change the words to be able to sleep at night. Right? Contracting is a way to do that. That's why all of that is a mental setup. That's why I'm saying it's a colonizer's mental setup that does not resonate with Earth peoples. Because it's about use and abuse, bait and switch, and enslaving the unborn with stuff that is irrelevant. Just like laws, right? There are laws that are in place that have no place in 2023. So, the reason why is because I've verbalized for quite a long time now that I do not agree with circles of influence or friendships that have absolutely nothing to do with me and mine to impose words with guns called laws to extort from me to fund their vested interests. Okay. Anyone who's been on that seeking on the political spectrum will realize that they'll become a libertarian. And if you're very serious on your study, because I'm a living example, that the difference between a libertarian minarchist and an anarchist is 6 months of study, real study. So, what am I talking about? Ayn Rand, Milton Friedman, right? Rothbard. You go to Mises. Then you look at Austrian economics, not Keynesian economics, that is rampant in America. Money printing theories and concepts. So that's where I don't agree with circles, gangs, mafia, government. Because government or politician is the new business model for mafia. To go from black market to the main market. And then they have the lobbyists with their pharmaceuticals and this and that. That's what we're talking about. So human trafficking using contracts to bait and switch, perpetuating slavery through imposing imposed ignorance. Well, what is that? So because there was a contract between Japan and Hawaii Kingdom for plantation workers, where they had the infrastructural plans that certain races came over to do field work, manual labor, and other races came to do the management or direct, which is why the perpetuating of how management is very vicious. Abuse and abuse, whatever. Where nepotism is cancerous to consciousness ecosystem of humanity. This is where in my seeking, going beyond all of these different Western concepts, which are actually what I'm finding, broken bits and pieces of through the history and this down, like kind of like the whole flat earthers, right? I'm sure flat earthers and their believers have been passing down knowledge of an echo of the Loka teachings of Hinduism, because when you look at it, that's what it would look like, a flat earth, when it's not. And they weren't there for the context intention of that whole teaching of the different lokas. And so, and they only got the Buloka message. So similarly, a lot of those things, bits and pieces, are taken, as well as democracy was taken from Hinduism as well, because of the all-inclusive nature of Hinduism with we in dialogue. So with Hindu social construct, it's about Jati, which is birth, and nepotism is not Varana. Varana is because the society of people coming together to live together, there must be some kind of structure, but it is not nepotistic, birth-centric. It is Varana-centric. Because the Jati had like 30,000 different specialists within their social construct, because those are the things that people choose to master. But when it came to the Varana, there was 4 Varana, and that was based off of the nature of the person. So based off of their nature, it was not by birth. That birth, or what they call caste, which is atrocity material made by British colonizers to smear campaign Hindus, but in actuality and factuality, that is their social construct. And all kids went to Gurukul, and the Guru sorted those individuals by their nature and led them into the direction that they needed to go for their enlightenment, because Hindu constructs are enlightenment for all based, where everyone is really truly doing what they love to do. And the way that it's constructed and structured is to help individuals find what it is that they took the body for. They came here to take the body for, and because everyone is consciousness, Hindus reveres consciousness. and allows that consciousness to blossom as per that consciousness without imposing anything upon them. Because Hinduism is a lifestyle, and you have to live it every day, and you're going to live what you choose or what you gravitate to. And because Hinduism is an umbrella for 10,000 plus indigenous Aboriginal cultures, traditions, spiritual practices, and whatnot, that's why we have 100 million plus source books and holy books. And those holy books are Guru's books and littered throughout history of thousands and thousands of years of power manifesting gurus leaving their experience for others who want to read them. And just like there's many who read about or hear about or watch movies on powers, the vast majority of people do that. Few express powers, even fewer express powers and train or initiate. And then the fewest are the ones who express, initiate, and train. So from that perspective, I'm standing here in 2023 doing investigative mediation for what is actually going on here, because it wasn't taught to me, and because of my commitment and seriousness as to what I took the body for and the training process that I'm going through with Swamiji, because he's very much committed to each one of us and making sure we flower to our highest potential. Yeah. Some people get attention. Some people get no attention. And then the other ones who are power manifestors are expected to just do. So I fall in that category. And because I continuously show up, drop any opinions, have absolutely no eye in anything, seeing a lot of things come through my reality, and with this intense download that happened today, I am standing here humbly talking to the entire Hawaii Kingdom and Japan, as well as the plantation owners, as well as UN, because I am liberating myself from those imposed enslavements by people processing paperwork, marginalizing my consciousness, pissing on God and cosmos itself by continuing to perpetuate ignorance upon everyone. No, I am conscious. I have a female body. I am a mother of two. Every woman has been entrusted by the cosmos, by God, by Paramashiva, to navigate life from formless to form. Thus, before anything else, if you want to quantify, that's our superpower. Thus, should simply be able to have our own kingdom, queendom, nation, and currency. Because we perpetuate life. Now, ladies, what are we perpetuating? I'm very serious about this. All mothers are mothers and global leaders. And so I was sitting and I'm like, no, I need to go to the UN and go talk to the UN and let them all know, because that's the platform. Not to say that this platform isn't enough, and I don't know. I'm allowing Paramashiva to show me what I gotta do. And that's what was being shown for me today. And I'm inviting all women of any nation who is in a conflict war zone. We're going to use force majeure, and we're going to go to the UN on the foundation that we are entrusted by the cosmos, God itself, for the future. I am done with anybody and their manufactured logic of definitions of disrespect, because when it comes to enslavement, words like know your place are manufactured structures of actual disrespect to those who are being postured upon. That is not consent, just like the government should have revert back to, which it can, if remove the IRS and the Federal Reserve, because it shouldn't be there. Those are British constructs, not American constructs. But then you got to look at the Native American. I haven't gone there yet. I'm sure it'll be shown to me. And I'm hoping that someone from the Native American community watches this video and reaches out to me. I don't know how that's going to happen, who actually has that kind of clarity from where I am looking at things and communicating. But bonds for the government are pretty much like GoFundMe requests. Right? I'm still contemplating when I will be making the decision to land in Geneva, Hague, New York, you name it. I probably need to go and do the full rounds. But at this point, this is where I've been asking, trying to connect, but absolute crickets and silence. Trust me. But I trust Paramashiva only and the cosmos. And I'm waiting for the date that I'm going to start this, because I think I gotta start there. And every male body should be standing behind me, allowing me to speak my truth. Who honors and worships life, the future that we are supposed to leave better than we found it. All of these things that I'm finding when you go to the source. Now it gets very challenging when I verbalized, like over 2 years ago, that the UN referees war and actually encourages it. And since their inception, World War III has been going on. And whoever whatever is. Because all of it is contracts, corporations. That's why everything's all corporatized. That's why governments, even state of Hawaii, has Dun and Bradstreet numbers. Traded on the market or whatever, and or bankrupt. And then they do their corporate shuffle, make a new corporation or whatever. That's their game. That's their MO. That's what they do, including the food. So complaining about it, and then on the other hand too, I get it. People trying to earn a living and participating in that capitalism. But if you continue to do that, people, this thing is just going to keep on going and steamrolling everyone. And I apologize. No, I don't apologize. I don't apologize. I am taking full responsibility, and I appreciate all the people who have been supportive of me because I'm communicating clearly, to be empowered to do what I've been doing, and literally the fruits of that support continuously comes. Now I get it, because I don't participate in money, and most people are money centric, and it's not their fault, because over here is, we get slumlord over here, slumlord over there, jigaboo slumlord over there, jigaboo slumlord over there, right? Ladies, what are we perpetuating? Because that's suffering. Are we going to bring stability and security, or are we going to perpetuate slumlord enslavement, suffering? The ones who like to make people suffer. Redefine slavery. If there's landlords, slavery is a built-in construct, which is a colonizer's construct, which is a British construct. Hindu social structures, food, medical care, education, clothing, and shelter are free, just like any earth peoples. Just like the original Kanaka Maoli who was here. Those who came, they helped build homes for them and even shared how to grow their own food so that they can take care of themselves. Right? There are some claims that they were given an acre of land, but I haven't seen the documentation on that. So I will leave it as hearsay. So until I see actual documentation on it, I will leave it at that. But that was earth peoples. It's the colonizers with their bait and switch to own for their own ego, which has nothing to do with anything. And it's probably because they have the monkey mind and lonely to chain whatever, all of that. So it's been a very long day for me, very interesting, very humbling, very serious. And I'm being put to task to say it and execute it, and entrusted by Paramashiva, because Paramashiva knows I will just simply do it simply, Agora style. Straight up, Agora. Because Agoris love life and very intense about their love for life. Yeah. I get it. There's only me and Paramashiva. I see nobody else. For serious. There's a lot of well-meaning people, but because of they have attachments and secular this and that, that's where the falling short happens. That's why I know, for me, born avatar, took body, took conscious birth, even trained knowing that we reincarnate. The raising that I went through was training. And I appreciate my family, my dad, and the sacrifices that he made. My grandparents as well. I also appreciate witnessing their religious infighting over type of Buddhism. One dharmas are not entrusted to bring global peace. And because I don't pick sides, that's why, yes, I identify with Hindu. I also identify as secular. Also identify with science. And so my own, because of the extreme inclusivity, right, and trying to help people evolve. There are many who are stuck with their perceptions, and when they witness me, they have aneurysms because of the dynamic liberty and freedom moksha that I express. The weight of today is still coming down. And I don't want to say the weight, the downloads. Is still not completed. I very much feel that right now. Because of my pure questioning and my pure seeking. Satya Yuga is here by the very fact that I'm saying mothers to initiate Kundalini and third eye through umbilical cord initiation. No compromise on that. So that everyone lives power manifestation from day one, the 460 powers, regardless of their spiritual preferences and expressions of that. Been saying that and got that as a download sitting on the Mauna in 2019. I've been initiating since 2018. Initiating and training. That's the thing. I will not insert myself between anyone and Paramashiva Cosmos God. Never. So I don't do healings. I give blessings through power manifestation blessings. But I advocate people to heal themselves, because if you heal people, you are creating crutches and dependencies that should not be there, which is technically inserting yourself between them and God. And as strict as it may sound, I like, no, train you how to heal yourself. Grow your breakfast. You upgrade your DNA with the sparks of Mahadeva. Loving deliciously. That's what I do. With each person choosing with their Amakua, Ishtadevata, God, deity, ancestors, whatever they are resonating with, that's what they are programmed with. So when you're eating food, it's better that you bless your own food. And when you power manifest, it's actually more than blessed food, because you electrocuted it with the sparks of life, like an atomic level. That's why I don't do healings, nor do I advocate it. There are those who do. Those are people who resonate with that. I don't do that. I'm very clear about it. Not trying to create a following per se, more to keep pushing each person back to who they call upon as God. I'm not a crutch. And that's what it is. So from that perspective, it gets very challenging because of the societal norms that have been perpetuated, which is customer-based. That's why you will never find cancer cures, which already exist through Ayurveda and La'au Lapa'au, the earth people's original medicine, not big pharma who does intellectual theft from there. Also advocate, I don't advocate really feeding people, give them land, teach them, grow their own food. That's taking care of their entire posterity. Those who are not advocating as such are looking for slaves or another plantation or another version of that plantation, whatever you want to call it, which I am standing here in the process of breaking. Because why? Why is the U.S. citizen British side having their things, as well as the way the Hawaii kingdom has their shuffle of the same thing, is because the contracts that were done by those who enslave others, essentially, giving perceptions of choice for those in Japan to be given some kind of like dream. I'm going to Hawaii, and the kinds of struggles they had to face with the promise of land or this and that, which didn't really happen. Like my grandparents got hauled off during World War II, kidnapped, go to internment camps, lost everything, had to build it up again, ignorantly with all of this stuff. It's not their fault. I'm making those corrections to stand in honor, right, for my family, because I will not perpetuate theft, blood title, all of that. So this is very much part of my DNA that's getting cleared out, and I thank Swamiji for the discipline and commitment to integrity for me to have the opportunity to pull that out, which you are witnessing right now by speaking it and extending that to those who listen to this as well. They didn't have to go through the sufferings and the tapas to verbalize what this is. So when it comes to the warriors of the light, it is not one specific one dharma entrusted. It is a mindset. It is a perspective. It is from the very place where someone is operating, and everyone should question the very you, even down to your DNA. That's why I recommend not just genealogy of your blood ancestors, but your spiritual genealogy to know what's in here. It matters, because those are blind spots you won't catch. And based off of your perceptions, you will be experiencing things from those perceptions. That's the bondage. So when it comes to the choices that I've made, choosing guru, choosing completion, choosing integrity, choosing unclutching, choosing power manifestation, I am very much humbled right now to be at this place, removing that insane blind spot pain pattern, to see more clearly having those pain patterns removed from my perceptions, as well as being able to see others more clearly and the words that they use. The words of imposed enslavement constructs are different than a stable, secure, family-based, family-governed word choices, perspectives, lifestyles, everything. So this is where even Hawaii Kingdom itself must reflect as to why there are all of these different nationalities here, creating this melting pot, and take full responsibility and absolute transparency. Absolute transparency. And until there's that absolute transparency, as well as honoring consciousness that we are all Paramashiva, or children of God, the pain patterns in your speech and viciousness in your speech will continue. From a third-party perspective, seeing two sides go at it and breaking things down to grasp how each side is responsible for their part in the conflict, fallout, etc., 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 is what I get shown. And in the attempt, in sincere attempt, because I don't take sides, I won't take sides, and I will not go to war against God. What does that mean? God cosmos, Paramashiva. I will not start making comparisons of genetics and preferences, because, or being whatever too critical of any one culture or religious or tradition or anything, despite the inspiration I had to do so in depth, because consciousness grows on the timeline of eternity, and that's a case-by-case issue. So as a collective, in that patience and the will persistence in showing up and engaging with the reality that I see and born into, the best solution I feel is for me to take it to a global platform. How that is, I leave it to Paramashiva. We'll see what unfolds. That's all that there isn't, because that's from where I'm operating. And I invite any female body to join me who is inspired to do so, because all women are global leaders. All mothers are global leaders. It's an existential truth. The weight. Has been lifted. Thank you for listening. I'm going to do a power manifestation and do a blessing. And I want to thank dear friend Kealoha, who blessed me with oranges this week. Very appreciative. So, put your creator, who you call upon as God, in your third eye or your visualization, and put a prayer in your heart so that can be blessed in just a blessing. Hopefully you have an orange or an apple. I'm going to wait a couple seconds for, if you do have one, you'll be placing it on your hand, palm flat, like this. And it will simply roll. This will happen live or alive. Alive meaning recorded. Here we go. So put your creator, who you call upon as God, in your third eye or your visualization. That prayer in your heart. Here we go. What I'm doing is channeling. For me, it's Paramashiva. And in that communion oneness space, because you have brought in who you call upon as God, it's in that communion oneness space for that blessings to be extended, for your prayer to be manifested. And what happens is in the channeling, there are those who wiggle and those who don't. I only started wiggling since following Swamiji. I was power manifesting prior to Swamiji. That's why I only initiate and train basics. I don't initiate and train kids. I teach the parents to do so. For those who are very serious about power manifestation, I point to Swamiji and the Parma Shivoham programs, or spiritual retreats, workshops that we have that are free, because those are available. I am here manifesting why I took body, and Nityananda Hindu University takes care of and has all of that material available for free for anyone to take their seeking to the next level in seriousness, and all the material is free, from YouTube to our online NPDF. So no one is held by anybody else, especially me, in their seeking. I initiate and train basics, which is a birthright, regardless of Amakua, Ishtadevata, God, Goddess, ancestors, belief systems, because we are just simply talking about energy. Static electricity. Blessings. Tadastu. Let's close with a peace prayer. Peace for you, peace for me, and global peace. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you for listening. Aloha. Nityanandam. Have a good evening.